What up, boys? Mute this real quick. Getting ready to watch the Thursday night football game between the Broncos and Chargers. It's been a long, wonderful fantasy football year. And we made it to semifinal week. Some interesting matchups that we are going to talk about in a second. Let me just put stuff away. All right. Let's go. Let me find my notepad. Took some notes. Blah, 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 blah. All right. I would like to start off this kind of informal weekly rundown by sending my condolences to the New York Football Gordons and Ayahuasca Healing. Eliminated from the playoffs, but two amazing years from two amazing teams. The Football Gordons really looked like one of the contenders early on. Stuck around for as long as they could, but sort of faded towards the end. Ayahuasca Healing, rough start to the season, comes roaring back to make the playoffs in that epic last week of the fantasy regular season, to be one of the 7-7 teams to make the playoffs. The only 7-7 team? I think so. I'm going to kind of breeze through the games that are happening that aren't the three games that we really care about here. But in the consolation bracket, I'm taking the Gasps over the Taints. Fifth place battle, I'm taking the New York Football Gordons over Ayahuasca Healing. And hey, how about them Birds of War? Why not us? Till they show me that they're capable of losing, I'm going to take them Birds of War. Birds of War over Game Plan. You heard it here, folks. Alright. Those are the less exciting games. Let's get to the Toilet Bowl. This is big. We got Jemima Redux versus Bed Bath & Bijan for a win, and you don't have to spin that dreaded Wheel of Punishment. First year of the Wheel of Punishment. I'm excited to see it. Looking at these rosters, I mean, they're in the Toilet Bowl for a reason. And during a long, hard football season, you're going to be starting some people you don't want to be starting towards the end of the year. But I'm looking at this Jemima roster. Currently slotted to start Mac Jones, Gus Edwards, Kyle Pitts, and Rashad Bateman. I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. And thus, I am taking Bed Bath & Bijan to win the Toilet Bowl, avoid those dreaded spins of punishment. Jemima and Joe, you're spinning that wheel. Alright, next up, one of our semifinal matchups for a spot in the Borger Bowl. Linguini with Muscles versus Wayne's Fantasy Football Team. A lot of interesting storylines here, particularly with Wayne's team. He's looking like he's going to get David Njoku back. However, I looked at this roster. There are no other tight ends on this roster. So, what's the backup plan here, Wayne? The waiver wire is not super thick right now. We'll see how that goes. But on the positive side, with Wayne's Fantasy Football Team, we get to see Jahmyr Gibbs' bell cow season. David Montgomery out. Jahmyr Gibbs is already 17th in points scored this year. If he's the only guy in that backfield, he's going to go nuts. The rest of the team's stacked too, but Linguini's no slouch here. I'm expecting big games from Jalen Hurts specifically against a pretty mid Washington football team defense. And Derrick Henry against the Steelers. I'm expecting the Steelers to bounce back from a pretty pathetic passing defense game against the Eagles. But I think this is going to open up a game for Derrick Henry to run all over them boys. There's a lot of back and forth here, but I really feel like the trio of contenders here for the Borger Bowl are two guys playing in the other game and Wayne's fantasy football team. So I will be taking Wayne's fantasy football team over Linguini with Muscles in the first semifinal matchup. Alright, let's talk about the other one. A battle of commissioners. Can't really ask for a better storyline than this for a semifinal matchup. And either of these teams playing Wayne, there's some history there, so I'm interested to see however it goes. We're of course talking about the Wizards of Loneliness and Red Zone Ronaine, two absolutely stacked squads. But there are some question marks, namely, Mr. Ronaine, are you starting Tua over Patrick Mahomes again? That would be pretty ludicrous in my opinion. But I mean, stranger things have happened, like you starting Tua over Patrick Mahomes last week. Wizards of Loneliness, this squad. So something like I'll say with Wizards of Loneliness, I think as far as like top line talent, they have the best team in the league. AJ Brown in a flex spot is pretty crazy, but when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Justin Jefferson, like, you gotta do that. The running backs are great, obviously, Bijan. But I went and looked at this second flex spot, and Calvin Austin III, I mean, it's a bad play when George Pickens isn't healthy. George Pickens is probably coming back this week. I don't love that. See, I went into this matchup, talking about this matchup, I mean, and I didn't know who I was going to pick. I still don't really know. But you know what? I'm gonna take Red Zone Ronaine. I just like top to bottom, fielding like a very good option at every single position, and Wizards is doing the same except for that second flex spot, and I don't know if that's gonna be good enough. It's a crazy league. These teams at the top are pretty nuts. But we shall see. So, taking Ronaine. Red Zone Ronaine, Wayne's fantasy football team in the finals. I mean, previous champion in Wayne's fantasy football team. We know Mr. Ronaine's been knocking at that door for a minute. We'll see how it plays out. I'll probably make another video talking specifically about that. But yeah. It's been a good year. This game's about to start. Honestly, like I like football, but I could not care less about watching Bo Nix throw a couple pick sixes tonight. Whatever. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm excited to see this time next week we'll know what this punishment for the toilet bowl is. We'll know who's in the finals. Football's hot in the streets, and we'd love to see it. Alright, I'll see you next week, boys. Peace out.